Hello, fellow Gîtes, and welcome to this episode of the Gîte podcast when I talk to Natasha and Tony, who are about 45 minutes away from us in the Dordogne at Trilogie d'Or. They currently have two gîtes, but they're expanding and they're renovating. And we had a really interesting discussion about whether or not you should renovate when guests are staying or just get the whole lot done and then open for business. It has thrown up its own challenges for them, but as Tony explains, it also has some advantages too. They are very honest about the challenge of, well, for the first time ever, living and working together, which I enjoyed talking about. And we talked about cyclists and e-bikes, who their guests are, interior design, how to use a chainsaw to vent your frustration out, their dreams, and not forgetting Dasha the Dachshund. So I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the Gite podcast. Brought to you by Gîte Guru.
Natasha and Tony, thank you very much for having us for this episode of the Gîte podcast. Now, you contacted us about 2 years ago saying your dream was to move to France, and then you bought this place 21 months ago. What's it been like in those 21 months? Has your dream become reality, or is it a bit of a nightmare?
For me, it's the best thing we ever did.
Really?
I've never been more happy in where we live and what we're doing. We've had now 2 seasons as well. The best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
It's both, really. I don't think I've ever been so busy in my life. It's good. It keeps me fit and I hope young, but it has been very busy and a little bit challenging, I would say. Maybe because I am dealing with all the administration. Tony is just enjoying building his dreams. So we have different responsibilities, different tasks, and probably Tony can switch off a little bit at night, and I'm still having millions of thoughts running through my head.
So you have Rupert to blame for that, because I remember him saying you must set each other tasks, and run a business as a couple, have your responsibilities, and you said, "Oh, I'll do the admin."
But I think you had to split the tasks like that because of the property that you bought. Tell us a bit about your background, because your backgrounds will explain a little about why you bought the property you have. What were you doing in the UK?
Originally, I was an electrician. Then I had an electrical company, but more construction as well as electrical. So for many years, I was involved in the construction industry. I then got out of that, then got into innovation. But when we did come, first of all, we were looking at properties. We both said, we're not getting any younger. And I've done quite a few house refurbishments back in the UK. So we said to the agent, we don't mind a little bit of work, but nothing too big. And obviously, when we pulled up here, I was about to get hold of the agent. I'd say, where have you brought me? But she said, no, just have a look round and then come back. And I think within 20 minutes, we knew that
you were sold. It wasn't just a little project though, was it? So Natasha, what were you doing in the UK?
I was working in high-end luxury property sales in London over 15 years, and I used to see, live, breathe all these beautiful things around me, beautiful properties. But I also worked for a developer, which meant I was seeing the project from the beginnings and see them all the way through until they get the keys and move in. Yeah. I knew what construction was. Yeah. So.
But also the finished product and dealing with the clients.
Yes,
so
yes.
Actually, the two of you have got a lot of those skills already in your rucksack that you could use for running a gîte here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
we've both been involved with our businesses that we were involved in our careers. Was very much customer facing.
Yeah,
very much.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic with obviously people actually staying and their needs, which I think. By the reviews that we've had up to now, touch wood, we seem to be doing a reasonable job. I mean, we've got all 5-star reviews. We've got people revisiting, even for a third time in 2 years. It's not bad going, I don't think.
It's really good. But Natasha, I can't quite get this picture of you in a hard hat and boots in my mind. You are, I think, probably the most glamorous lady in the whole of the Dordogne. Frank is obsessed with seeing what you're going to wear whenever we see you. He talks about it for hours before we actually meet up. What's she going to wear this time? And we assume you must have the largest walk-in closet of anyone.
Right now I do actually. It takes the whole top floor of this building. But yes, even in a hard hat and boots, I would have red lipstick on and maybe pearls on. So it worked well.
Good, good. And you are originally from the Ukraine, but lived in England for a very, very long time. And you've been married for how many years?
Yes, we were married in 2017.
8 years, 8 years. And why then the dream of moving to France? What was so wrong with your lives in the UK or your work or?
A lot of people had the similar thing when COVID hit. I think it was a bit of a reality check that you had time on your hands. I'm actually enjoyed the lockdown in COVID, believe it or not. I know that sounds bizarre, but it was quality time together as well, wasn't it? Because Natasha was working some weekends, I was working late evenings. We was like ships in the night, really. I think we both agreed that we needed to do something else with our lives. We're not getting any younger. And we started watching the programs, as you do, moving, place in the sun and all the other ones. I had a holiday here to France, to Solar. Fell in love with Solar and the surrounding area. And then one day I just said, well, while we're here, should we just see what we could afford? So we went into an estate agent and they took us round and then said, I think I could live here. And Natasha was in shock because she never thought I could leave Essex, which I've lived all my life.
Yeah.
But we're going for it. We've done crunched some numbers back in the UK. Both pretty much fed up with our careers, I think, with where we were at. We wasn't really enjoying it anymore.
Ready for a new challenge.
Yeah. Life's so short. So we've invested wisely, I think.
And when you decided to start seriously looking for properties here, what were your criteria? You didn't mind a little bit of a project, but you wanted a gîte from the beginning, or you were just looking for a home?
No, we were looking for a gîte, basically to supplement our pension.
But you're not that old yet, so you can't have a pension.
No, I had a private pension, which I could call upon. So, but we wanted to sort of not retire fully, but we still want to keep active. But we wanted something that would top up and
pay its way, and
give us some sort of structure, I guess. But I didn't just want to sort of sit around and do nothing. And I think it gives us both what we enjoy is meeting people, which is the key, I think, with Gite. We've met some really lovely, interesting people. Whether we've been extremely lucky or what, I don't know.
And was that a concern when you moved here? Because it's very rural. You're not that far from Solar, which is one of the biggest, nicest towns in the Dordogne. But you are kind of on top of the hill in a very small hamlet. Were you concerned about your social life?
We had done some research previous to buying with other people that moved here. So we had spoke to them and, how they integrated with the community. I don't think we had any reservations. I think we went into it maybe a little bit blind, but can't state enough how well we've been accepted in the hamlet and in Castleknock. Now, social life, if I'm completely honest, way more than it was in the UK. We've got friends now across the Dordogne and every nationality, from Americans, Australians, Dutch, French, English. And because we've got a target, we want to complete our renovation, we have to say to people, we can't come tonight, sorry. We can't be out every night, and we would be out every night, I think, if we did. It's lovely. And I mean, the people, I don't know whether it's because they're more relaxed here, but it seems everyone is so chilled and happy. Very rarely get anyone to turn up and have a moan, Whereas in England, friends would come around and go, oh, stuck on the M25 yesterday.
And what about in the hamlet then? How many houses are there?
Six.
And do they live here full time?
People that live in here full time, and now we have our English neighbors. After meeting us, they decided to relocate here for 5 months of the year. Now they just received the long-term visas, and they're very happy. They've just arrived, so we seem to be setting an example. It's not too bad here in the winter. Yes, you still have fun. You do the truffle festival.
So you've been welcomed in your hamlet. You've been welcomed in the larger community, and you've had loads of guests. It's really good to hear, because I think when we moved, we did kind of think we're just going to be invisible on top of a hill in the middle of nowhere, and we'll never be seen again. But it hasn't been like that at all.
Yeah.
Actually, you are going to be seen by quite a lot of people because you're going to be on television, aren't you?
We are a bit nerve-wracking watching ourselves on TV.
Oh, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But when we met you, we suggested that you went on, and you very gamely said, "All right, then." So we put you in touch with the producers, and you're going to be the stars of the show, I'm sure. And how have you found the filming? What have they been? Are you allowed to say what they've been filming?
Yeah, I think so. We filmed friends coming over. We've done kayaking with them. We did film people
Guests
arriving.
And the cameras have been here from almost day one, haven't they? Right at the beginning. The most interesting thing about your story is that you have bought a property that, well, the majority of it was a shell when you bought it. So even though you said to the agent, we don't mind a little project, I mean, this was a massive project. So just to explain, you've got one main house that is almost a C, kind of in the form of a C. And a small part of that behind me was habitable, had a kitchen and one bedroom. Yeah. And then next door, there's a detached 2-bedroom cottage with a massive garage underneath. So kind of 3 levels. And then the rest of it, which was actually the majority of the property, was literally a shell. So walls, concrete floors, roof, but no windows, no door,
No doors,
no facilities, absolutely nothing.
no services either.
What was it about this place, that the shell, when you came round, that you thought, this is it, this is the one for us?
Location was key.
Yeah.
The swimming pool was a big draw. It was all done and finished. And I think they possibly did that deliberate to sort of tempt someone to get it over.
It's a really unusual pool, isn't it? Because it's in the shape of a T, and it's massive and got loads of space around it for sun loungers and things. So that was a big draw for you.
We looked at a lot of properties that were, as they are in the Dordogne, very old. And there's this unknown, when you unravel and want to refurbish it, you find things that you hadn't budgeted for. Whereas here, this is, even though it looks very old,
with stone walls, and
it's only 14 years old. So I knew it was a blank canvas that we could budget for. I know there's always going to be the odd thing that pops up, but pretty much
pretty bare.
Oasis, yeah.
It was one of the first things that we discussed with you, wasn't it? We came round and we looked at all the property and we tried to decide, how are you going to split it up? Because you want to live here and you want gîtes. And so it was quite a conundrum, really, to think, how can you live in a really nice part of it, but still earn lots of money by renting out also really nice parts of it? How long did it take you, do you think, to get your head around that and to come up with a plan?
You helped us.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, you.
Yeah, I think without you, we would have probably taken the wrong route. I think you give us some really good advice on what to do, because it's not just about having a nice big sheep, but when you're living here, you also want a little bit of that you're tucked away, you're not in
Privacy.
people's faces. Yeah. So you have to bear that in. There's a couple of tweaks still discussing on bedroom layout.
And you've come up with a design that's quite flexible, because as this is one building, but it's kind of 2 separate dwellings in it, you've also ensured that you can open them up into one.
But I think it gives us the flexibility, should we want to rent this out of season. We've got the accommodation to accommodate, say, some cyclists or some walkers. The bigger property, we see that as more as peak season for bigger families, when school holidays. So I think we've got the best of both. We've got flexibility to adapt, like you said, as we grow.
You are going to move in and out according to whatever decision you make about what you want to rent out.
Yes, so we're probably going to try for next season, if we're ready, to do what your other clients did. I think it was your very first podcast with them.
With Montruf.
Maison Principale for 4 months, and we are in a little gîte.
Yep.
See how it works, and probably that would be the best solution for us. But if not, then we still can play with it and see.
Your occupancy has been really impressive. But how do you do the renovations then?
I said to Natasha, there is no way I'm doing any renovations that are going to upset the client. So I didn't do any noisy works. It was all quiet, unless they go out. And Natasha says, they've gone out.
Get your drill out.
There were instances when I had to tie him down to a chair because he still wanted to renovate, and I said, no, you can't, cannot start.
But what we have done, Rupert, which has been really successful, I think, the guests say, what are you doing here? And we give them a tour.
Yeah.
At the end of their holiday, we give them a tour, show around what we're doing, what we're planning for. And I think 90% of them said we can't wait and we'd love to come back with a bigger family. And I think they appreciate we're not doing any work while they're here.
Last year was your first season that you opened. How long were you open for then? What kind of months? How much occupancy did you have?
We started in July, 1st of July, and our current guest was our very first guest.
Oh, brilliant.
And then he came back in September and he came back this year.
So you got the keys in February and then you hit the ground running with getting to grips with the whole place, setting up the business, and you opened in July.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you almost had to put tools down until the guests left again in.
I don't think we really did any work until September, really, did we? That's when we really started.
Yeah.
The windows arrived after September. So that's when we could really start doing internal works on the main house. And we did add 2 bedrooms in our 3-bedroom current gîte. Yeah. So the staircase had to go in, the ceiling had to be broken, things like that.
Have you had much help doing it?
Most of it myself. Well, I've had one guy come. He's been really good. He does all the tape and joining, and he's helped me a little bit. But majority of it, I've been doing myself and my assistant.
And is this something you enjoy, Natasha?
Did have to see osteopath recently, which I'm not very, very pleased about. So I will be using my back more wise now, from now on.
Yeah. But you found it quite rewarding, haven't you?
Yes.
And the finish of the 2 bedrooms you've done upstairs is just incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
You left the beams in view and it's all just absolutely gorgeous. But you have this natural talent to look at a shell with no windows and anything and understand what has to go where and in what order. But you've got that ability to really visualize and plan the whole renovation.
And a big saving, I must say that I'm doing a lot of it myself and we call upon people when we need it.
And out of interest, did you get quotes from builders for any of the work that you have then done?
Yeah.
And were you surprised by the quotes, or? If
we bought the windows in France, they were 3 times what we purchased them for in Poland.
No.
For exactly the same product. Yeah, and the raw materials that we get now, we've got actually an account open. So we don't pay for the materials for like 2 months, which is bizarre. We've got a real good relationship, and I think they could see, well, if they keep buying from us, there's going to be a lot. So, and we got really good rates, and some of the builders here are actually saying, I can't believe how cheap you're getting the material.
Really?
So we did a lot of work on that aspect. Before we rushed into buying stuff, we did shop around, and you have to. It could save you thousands.
Yeah. You have got the skills not only to do the work yourself, but to keep the costs down. And those 2 things are really going to help you. You're going to have a property you understand and can maintain perfectly, rather than the rest. It probably took us 5 or 6 years to get to know our property and understand where the pipes were and which sewage pipes weren't capped off when they should have been and things like that. Yeah. So when you saw this place, the unique selling points that really got you, that you thought these are going to be brilliant for our gîte guests, were the pool, the location, because you're just, how far are you from the main chateaus around the Dordogne River?
One here we can walk to, the other one.
Castelnau and Chateau Lacoste, where there are weddings. That's beautiful. So we're in between 2 chateaus.
Chateau Milan is...
Milan's is 5 kilometers.
Yeah, that's the Josephine Baker one. That's absolutely brilliant. So location-wise, it's really good. And you're not far from Bergerac Airport.
And Brive.
Brive Airport.
So we're sort of smack bang in the middle.
Yeah. How long to each?
About an hour.
Yeah. So from a travel point of view, really easy to get to. You're on top of a hill, so you've got incredible views. And what else was it about the property that you thought this is going to work for gîte guests?
I think our vision, because we're doing every bedroom it's spacious bedrooms. They're not tiny and ensuite and big beds and luxury feeling. Also, the living room is going to be amazing, huge with fireplace. It's all going to be very, very, I would say, high-end and luxurious. 2
of the things we loved about the bedrooms that you've completed are the lighting that you've done. You've very cleverly installed this lighting as kind of mood lighting, using the features of the room to really enhance somebody's enjoyment of it. And totally typical to you, Natasha. You have decided to frame some Hermes scarves yourself. You've done it. I don't know how you've done it without crinkling and wrinkling them, but you have.
There was quite a bit of swearing in that.
Yeah, no, I don't swear. Yeah, no.
And perfect thing to have in a bedroom. It's really clever way of bringing your style into the house. How long is it then going to take you to finish the whole property? Can we have a date, please?
I'm really pleased this is being recorded.
I would like to think by April or May next year.
That means a lot of work this winter. So you've got 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, an enormous kitchen, a utility room.
Kitchen, we've only got now put the units in, really.
And
the floor's down.
and the paint.
Easy then. Easy. And then the living room.
Yeah. The living room is, again, I'm just about to make a start on that. Yeah.
And a hallway and downstairs loo.
Downstairs loo's all plumbed it.
Brilliant.
So we just got to build a little wall.
Just build a little wall. I once built a little wall and it fell down 3 years later. And I had to rebuild it.
So the naked eye, it looks quite a lot of work, but it's surprising how quick plasterboard goes up. And my painter here, give her a roller, especially in the winter months to keep warm. She gets up quite early. And when I turn the heating down.
That's clever. I must try that with Frank. So you're hoping to be ready in April or May, and you're going to open it then next year for the summer.
So we're still going to decide this in a few months. At the moment, we're marketing as we did this summer, same setup. So we will see how we're progressing. We say one thing, but surprisingly, how much longer things do take to get.
So you're going to have a kind of decision deadline.
My fear is that the bigger property, I think people tend to look maybe a year in advance. It's not a last minute booking for maybe.
I agree, but you're always going to get bookings for July and August. The other months are much more tricky if you leave it last minute, but you will always get some bookings. You might not be full. And what about registering the actual business? Was that quite easy?
We did that before we moved here.
Yeah. So it wasn't too difficult.
No.
Brilliant. And as part of setting up your business, decided it was really important for you to get classified, to get a star rating so that you could benefit from some tax advantages. How was that? So you've got the classification for the 2-bed that was existing. And how did it go then? How was the inspection?
It was fun, actually. It was much better than, it was really nerve-wracking, but it went really well. Yes, we got 4-star.
Yay!
And they're coming back to do the 3-bed. And we will be filming that as well for Channel 4.
Oh no, what happens if you only get 1 star? On film, no, of course you won't. Of course you won't.
Cut!
Do you know what I liked about the classification? People, whether we was really lucky with the people that we had, they come in and they actually give you some recommendations and help. Even though you've achieved your 4 stars, he was saying that, have you thought about this? Have you thought about an air fryer? Save on your energy and cook quickly. And there was loads of little tidbits.
But he must have seen hundreds of Gites, and he's got all the answers that we're all desperate for. Congratulations on 4 stars. That means you're in the top 10% of Gites in the Dordogne, which is really impressive.
And then we will aim for 5 stars on the main house. Right. So
you are in charge of the renovations. You are in charge of the marketing,
administration, procurement, you name it.
Changeovers,
Hermes scarves.
Yes, running.
Oh yeah, changeovers. You're doing all that yourselves?
This season, because we kept it flexible. We don't do Saturday to Saturday, and this is why it's impossible to employ someone on such flexibility last minute.
Yeah.
So we will probably change it for next season, but yes,
But it worked for you this way. And did you ever have a changeover of both properties on the same day, and you still managed it?
Yeah.
Did you rope your mother in to help?
It wasn't here, actually. No, it was just 2 of us. Yeah. But yes, we planned it as a military operation, and we did manage. Yes. And I was always remembering. So I just managed to have a shower, and then greet guests, so I'm very relaxed.
Still bright red, but looking clean.
Yeah. So that was us.
I think the benefit of us doing it, Rupert, was number one was we wanted to be, spick and span to get the best reviews. No stone unturned. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen if you bring someone in because you'd still oversee them. But I think it's always good to know that, God forbid, if you had someone that was helping you that didn't turn up, you can still achieve it. And I think it was stressful, but we know we can do it. And I think that gives you the positivity and confidence going forward as well. So that was key, wasn't it?
You're obviously a really good team, though. You've got the same, well, you share the same vision for this place. You want it to be wonderful for guests, and you're willing to put in the hard work.
Yes.
No, we've only just started speaking again since like last week.
Yeah, Tony.
We do get our moments, of course. We are humans, but yes, in generally we work well.
You'd never worked together before,
No.
so this is the first time. So you're living together 24/7, living and working 24/7.
That was our biggest fear.
It's a big learning curve.
From coming here, we was like, we got on really well. So it was a completely new dynamic. Living on top of each other 24/7. But I think that was our biggest, not fear, and it is a challenge when you're living together that close. I don't care what anyone says how close you are. It is challenging, and you do have your moments.
There was one year, some new chemical had been put into sun creams, and every single bed sheet we had that came back from the laundry had enormous yellow stains on them. And it was when you put the sheets in hot water, the chemicals from the sun cream would then go yellow. So we hadn't seen them before we'd sent them to the laundry. And every week we'd look at a duvet all nicely wrapped up and think, it's fine. You put it on the bed and there'd be an enormous yellow stain. And you'd think, God, the guest is coming in an hour. And anyway, Frank and I, we nearly got divorced that year. In the end, we had to fill our bath with diluted bleach the whole summer and put all of the sheets into it overnight, which then ruined the cotton, of course. So they started ripping. And that was the only way we could do it until we found a new laundry. They are able to get the sun cream out. So that was one moment where we just had to explode on each other. It was so stressful, a real obstacle to us providing that finished product that we want.
We're fortunate that we've got a construction site that I can go and just wander and start drilling. Well, my favourite one is the chainsaw. I go down into the forest.
We have a lot of wood for the winter.
And the neighbour says, Tony and Natasha must have had a row. The chainsaw's on.
You pretend you're not desperately in love with Natasha, but I know you are. And you have a dog on site, Dasha the Dachshund.
Dasha the Dachshund. Yeah.
And how's that been with guests?
And she's the star of the show.
Really?
I mean, she's a little bit nervous around small children, and they always want to cuddle her.
Yeah.
So we have to manage that. With all the children, absolutely fine, and she loves them. But yes, but she's very cute, and she gets away.
But we tend to keep her out of the way. When the guests are here, they don't see.
We obviously have to see if people like dogs or not. Obviously, it's much calmer, much more social dog here now than she was in UK. So yes, it changed Dasha's life dramatically.
It sounds like you've really found your way, the kind of flow of being here with guests, because all the properties are quite close to each other. They have shared facilities. You've got a dog. You've got your mother staying here now and then. But you've really found that way of making it work for everyone. But you've obviously had very good guests up until now.
Yes,
and I think we always say that the guest is the priority, comes number one.
Yeah.
If we've got to compromise on something, we will, and we do.
But what was interesting, actually, when we had to move out because the property was rented and our one wasn't even nowhere near ready, we were offered little cottage by our neighbors in the woods. So we
free of charge.
We stayed for 2 weeks in a neighboring property, just listening to the guests enjoying here our property and us staying in another property.
How funny.
Just behind the fence. But yes.
And that's again, the relationship we've got with the local French community here is second to none.
Who are your guests? You've talked about them quite a lot. Are they couples, families, cyclists, Americans?
A variety of, we've had from Canada, America, British,
French.
German, French, Belgium, Dutch.
And the majority British or a complete mixture?
We haven't got this season. We had French, but last 5 bookings. It
Americans.
was Americans and British. It looks like it changes within the season.
I think there's an opportunity because we had a friend turn up. He phoned from Bergerac, a keen cyclist from Yorkshire. And he said, I'm in your area. And he just said to me, this is a cyclist paradise. And he said, you need to market.
Yeah.
So we're converting part of the pool house to a cycle shed indoor where we can lock it. It's got bike racks, somewhere they can hang their, helmet equipment. And we think that might be an opportunity out of season again. So we want to start contacting cycling clubs.
So I think you're right. We had some Canadians stay this year who were keen cyclists, and they said that that every year they go on a cycling holiday to Italy or France, and they said that this was the best area they'd ever cycled in. And we said, well, why is it? And they said the roads are quite good, very few cars on the road. So for us, it's just fantastic. Every time you go up a hill or down a hill, there's a chateau to look at, and the nature and the countryside is just stunning. Yeah. And there are so many amazing cafes and bistros and restaurants on all these tours that you can do. So I think you're right to think about what facilities can you offer cyclists.
Yeah.
And have you had e-bike cyclists?
No, we've actually trialled the e-bikes ourselves, and it was remarkable, especially at my age, up hills in Castle. It was a dream, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it must be a local e-bike rental company.
We got 2 just at the bottom of the hill.
Oh, well, there you go.
And they deliver them up as well.
Yeah. That's the beauty of having moved here. There is so much on offer for our guests, isn't there? We don't really have to explain on our websites why people should be coming to the Dordogne. It's mostly families who come here, or also couples?
So obviously families, July and August, it's 100% families. The rest of the season, it is mixed. At the moment, it's a couple.
We had
friends.
one strange request from a couple who was celebrating their anniversary and wanted rose petals spread up the stairs and on the bed, and wanted some chocolates and flowers. They were willing to pay for it, so Natasha did everything. Said, what year are you celebrating? Well, maybe we can get a card or a cake. It was 1 month.
Yes.
I need to talk to Frank. Frank hasn't remembered a year, let alone a decade, let alone a month.
And they were hand-picked rose petals from our own roses.
Oh, so you really do go the extra mile for your guests.
But we did chuckle on that one. Lovely guest.
What are your top tips for people who are in the same position as you were 2 years ago with this dream of moving out here and doing it?
I would just pass on my tip. Last boss told me. He said, what's your budget? Have you worked it out? I said, yes, my husband is from construction industry. It's all on a spreadsheet. We have it all worked out. And he said, double it.
And you would agree?
Maybe not double it, but yes, you have to have good contingency.
Well, there's always things that are going to go wrong, or things that you've not planned for. Like even the swimming pool, even though we acquired it, it was all fairly new. Something went wrong in there that cost us £1,500. Lead flashing round the windows. In England, you probably paid £3,000 for someone to come in and do. Here it was nearly
12,000. Yes, we didn't budget.
We got it down slightly, but the good thing here, a good roofer, they're hard to come by.
Yeah,
they're all busy. Without that being done, I couldn't continue inside. Yeah. And if you're not from a construction background, take some advice on what's involved.
And out of interest, why did you decide to start renting out immediately? Why didn't you just renovate, from start to finish, and once you'd finished the renovations, open to the public?
I think we wanted to put the marker down, get some reviews in.
Yep.
And secondly, we wanted feedback on how could we improve it, and then reflect that in the renovation, if that makes sense. So if someone said, it would have been handy if you had a light switch by the bed that we could turn the lights on, even though I'm using that as an example, but little things like that we could then build in the budget or use it as a renovation. And I think it also give us something else to think about and do in that first year.
It breaks the monotony of the renovation a bit. It gives you, it allows you to have a much steeper learning curve because you've got guests here, and it's helped you with your brand, with your marketing. I think the other bonus is if you only renovate and you're going to start accepting guests at the end of the renovation, that could go on and on. It's very difficult to say we are now ready because there's always projects you need to do, aren't there? So I think actually you were quite clever in choosing to do it this way.
It gives you the opportunity to, like we said, show people of what's coming. So we opened the door, as it were, to those customers to say, well, look, this is what's coming. And we've already had some feedback from those original customers.
I'm not surprised. What are the top tips? If you talked to yourselves 2 years ago, sitting in the UK, what would you have said?
Learn French before you come out. That's
or
also
learn,
helpful.
learn some French. I would say you don't have to be fluent, but what we've discovered here is, I think, and it's only right, the locals do like you to
Try. At least.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. We've got a French English teacher next door, so we have lessons that I think only she would tolerate putting up with me trying to learn.
And what's your French like?
I'm still, I'm understanding a lot, but saying back, I'm still have this nervousness about all this.
How many languages do you speak then? Ukrainian, English?
Russian, English, the Polish, a bit of Italian, but French is the most difficult language.
How funny.
I must say.
Really?
Yes. It doesn't come naturally as all the others for some reason. So yes, it is a challenge.
She's doing well, Rupert. She underestimates how well she's doing, I think.
Yeah, we will manage.
Contingency budget, learn a bit of French, and your last top tip?
Be in love with or at least have a very good relationship. Make sure you're on a good.
If you have doubts about your partner, don't do it.
Don't do it if you're not there.
And also you will find that it's a completely laid back, slower lifestyle. That takes some time to adapt if you're coming from a big city in the UK. But also, I think be patient, because we're both guilty of this. We wanted everything like now, as you do in England. Let's get this done. Take your time, do it properly, and just be a little bit patient.
Yeah, enjoy it while you're doing it. Yeah. Have you enjoyed the whole process?
Yeah.
Yes, it is enjoyable. Ask us maybe April time.
But what on earth are you going to do when the renovations are finished?
We want to do some more exploring, just in
Even
France.
in France, we haven't really managed to discover France that
Even
much.
the Dordogne. I mean, we found a little place called the Red Village just last week.
Yes, it's in a lot, but yes, it was our first visit there, and it's lovely. There are so many things to discover and enjoy.
I went there when I was 21. Yeah, on a holiday in the Dordogne. That was the first time I came here. So what does the future look like, do you think, for you and the Dordogne with your gîtes? Do you want a really long season with hundreds of guests, or?
No, I think ideally, because we're living so close, we'd like a shorter season.
4 months. That's our idea of a good balance in life, and then we back enjoying the big, beautiful house.
So you'll move into the house when you're not renting it out, and then move out for the summer to earn the big bucks.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a stunning place, and you've really made it so adaptable that I think it's going to be a massive success. I can't see that it's not going to work with the way you work together and the way what you've created already. So congratulations.
No, thank you.
And thank you guys for setting us on the right path.
Well, we're very proud to see how far you've come already, and good luck with the rest of the renovations.
Welcome to the Gîte podcast. Brought to you by Gîte Guru.
Well, aren't they just an amazing couple? And I'd like to thank them actually for being so honest about everything, especially their trepidation about moving to France in order to live and work together, which they did for the first time. But they have obviously come out of this whole project even stronger and even more in love than before. I had a great time doing the podcast with them, lots of laughter. And I really enjoyed the discussion about renovating, because it's a topic that comes up quite a lot with our clients. Do you hit the ground running, renovate everything, and only when you've finished open for business, or do you try and do it at the same time like Tony and Natasha have done? We did the first way because I think we understood that we could get everything done before the summer season started 8 months later. And so it made sense just to get on with it and get everything done before we could open. For Tony and Natasha, though, it's slightly different because they're doing the work themselves and they need a couple of years to really do everything that they're planning on doing. And they found it really positive experience because not only have they been able to show current guests what they're up to and what the plans are, what the dreams are for the property in the future, but they've been able to learn about what their guests need and fine-tune their renovation plans around that. I am so impressed that Tony has been very clever in sourcing materials to keep the cost down, buying windows, for instance, in Poland. No doubt it helps that Natasha speaks Polish, and building a really strong relationship with builders merchants to get good prices. That is where you can save a lot of money. So well done for doing that. And we've talked about this before in other podcasts about the layout. It's funny that when we first talk to potential clients, we discuss this and say it's really important that we come around and have a look at the layout and look at how the property is going to be used by guests and how we can make it as comfortable and, in that regard, successful as possible as a gîte. And again, this was one of the main things that we did with Natasha and Tony when we started, because they really had bought a massive shell of a building that you could split up in so many different ways. And I think they have come to a really good kind of conclusion or decision around how to use the property and live in it happily whilst earning a really good income, and also offering really flexible accommodation so that they can change per season what they're offering. You know, in the summer, they offer as much as possible. And in the winter, they can, you know, make smaller properties that are probably easier to rent out. I like their top tips as well, that you need a good, healthy contingency in your budget. It's always going to cost more than you think. To learn the language, you need to have a strong relationship. And if you don't have a strong relationship, maybe you shouldn't be moving to France. I do remember a Zoom I had with potential clients who were moving to the Dordogne, and during our Zoom call, they had the most enormous blazing row in front of me because one of them thought the other one wasn't listening and wasn't paying attention and wasn't taking it seriously enough. And they didn't actually sign up to become clients, but I wasn't wholly surprised to then learn that actually the lady had decided to stay in England and the guy had moved out here on his own, where I believe he's very happy, so that's okay. And Tony and Natasha have also created a really healthy social life and have found themselves in this, what they termed as a very relaxed community of people. And they are really enjoying that. And Dasha, the Dash Hound, is really enjoying it as well. They've said that she was never as happy as she is now. So thank you, Natasha and Tony, for everything. And we can't wait to see you on Channel 4 soon. If you haven't met us before, we're Gîte Guru. That's Frank and me, Rupert. We run our own gîtes, Le Mas and La Mazette, and when we left our careers in Amsterdam back in 2015 to run these gîtes full-time, they became our livelihood. We had to make the business work. It wasn't always smooth sailing, but through trial, error, and plenty of learning, we've built a 32-week season, 60% of which are returning guests. We started Gîte Guru to share what we've learned and to help others succeed too. So, if you're looking for free tips, insights, and inspiration, head to giteguru.com and subscribe to the Gîte podcast. For ongoing updates, behind-the-scenes posts, and relevant Gîte news, including tax changes and industry trends, follow us on Instagram at gite.guru. And if you're after more personalized support, we offer tailor-made advice around your business, your gîte, its interiors, facilities, and the services you offer, and not forgetting communication and marketing, so telling the story of your gîte and making it visible to your target groups. If you're interested, get in touch for a free Zoom chat about your property, plans, and how we could help you. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram at gîte.guru. See you there.